And we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm here with Gick.
Hello.
So, how you doing, Gick?
Well, I'm having a bit of a headache, so I'm worried. I forgot what happened this week.
Nothing good. Yeah. Um, I titled the stream today. I can't remember what did I title it. Whatever. It's have been attacking civilians, and it's really bothering me. Like yesterday, I think in Berislav, they hunted down this 91-year-old woman and dropped a grenade on her. Which is unnecessary. It's why? What did she do to anybody? But yeah, they've been attacking civilians all over the place lately. Um, Particularly along Kherson, where they attacked a 91-year-old woman and a 58-year-old man with grenades. Um, I put that twice apparently, but yeah, it's just they've been hitting like schools. They've been hitting houses, um, known gathering points for people. It's just depressing. So that's why I titled today's stream about that. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It just needs to be brought up.
Do you know? Sometimes I wonder. Given that we hear a lot about that from Kherson, of course, obviously in other regions there's more active fighting, I would say. So maybe there are more military targets to hit. But at the same time, we know that Kherson is one of the places where they do a lot of the training. And sometimes I wonder if they, just use civilian targets for practice.
Like I guess. I mean, they do it in Sumi too. Recently, Sumi has been heating up a lot, which is weird. Um, but yeah, we saw one unit. They spent all summer in Kakhovka, right? They spent all summer here. They were filming attacks on Berislav and Mykolaiivka, and that's about it. Those are like two places. But they're filming attacks all summer, and then all of a sudden they were in Novomykolaiivka, and they've been there ever since. So I don't know. Maybe they're training on the river, and then got deployed to an actual battle, or maybe they just. I mean, this Novomykolaiivka is such a huge battle that maybe they just drew in everybody they could. But yeah, it's just really depressing. The attacks on the civilians. Anyways, I don't know. What would you like to talk about today, Gick?
First of all, could you stream to me so I can,
Oh yeah, yeah, I can do that.
know what I'm talking about without 1 minute delay?
Yeah, I could do that. Last time I did this, it like crashed Discord. So good luck. I mean, for me, it was fine, and for the people watching, it was fine. But for the people in Discord, it was terrible.
Well, it seems to work. And Konstantin also joined
Oh,
us.
Constantine's here. Hi, Constantine. Constantine, do you want to talk about your fundraiser?
Is the stream about to end?
No, it just started.
Then I'll do it a bit later because I want to connect my headphones. I listened to our last stream. I understand that while you can hear me, it's not the best.
Okay.
So let me try something, all right?
Okay. Yeah, usually we talk to Constantine about his fundraiser at the end, and the end is not a good time. The beginning is a better time. uh,
So
anyway,
do you think it's better at the beginning or at the end?
yeah, in the beginning, more people will listen to it.
Oh, gotcha. Well, let me try to connect my headphones. All right.
I personally think that the audio quality right now is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
But I listened to myself the last time, and I was a bit quiet, I would say, mumbling and quiet. Well, I don't think my headset will fix the mumbling, but
No,
it can fix
the mumbling is the bigger problem, but that's just you, I guess.
yeah, that's me. I do it all the time,
Uh,
especially when complaining.
yeah. Yeah, that's why when we get you excited about something, when you're really excited, you don't mumble at all. We just need to like get you hyped up first.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyways, that was a pretty cool video today about the Bradley, right?
Yeah, it was really nice.
uh, it's too bad we can't show it. I would love to show it, to be honest. There was a lot about that video I found interesting. To me, the Bradley hiding behind the destroyed BTR, I found that interesting. Things like that I find interesting. Is I like it when vehicles use cover, and I like it when they use smoke. Those are my two favorite things that vehicles do.
Oh, did anything else happen in the video?
There was a dud bomb dropped by a drone. Although we never saw that happen. We just saw the dud. Yeah, it's the combined arms. This is like the new style of combined arms, right? It's drones plus Bradley. That's your combined arms. That's all you need.
Are you trying to summon CJ in here?
Yeah, who needs anything else? It's like that's all you need. You don't need infantry. You don't need artillery. You just need drones and Bradleys. Yeah. So basically, in this video, I think it was this tree line here that they drove up. Is that right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So they drove up in a BTR. They like drove up. I'm not. Where did they stop off? Was it like over here or something? Anyway, it doesn't matter. They drove up in a BTR. They dropped off their infantry. The BTR tried to drive back, but was hit by a drone and exploded. Um, like the BTR, I think was destroyed right here, if I remember right. And the infantry that it dropped off, they kind of laid on the ground and tried like squirming their way forward, but then a Bradley showed up and it went blap 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 blap, and all the infantry went away.
And even there, I think it was not optimal because I think it was having the wrong ammo loaded into the gun.
There was a
It looked
fire.
like the yeah, but it looked like the Bradley was targeting or was going for the BTR. So I think the infantry was receiving AP shells there.
Maybe I know that the Bradley can have multiple ammo loadouts, and there's like a selector that you can select what ammo you're using. But I don't know how Ukraine loads their Bradleys. Maybe they just only load one type of ammo. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I really wish I could show the video, but that is not a YouTube friendly video at all. I can't even show like stills. It is very unfriendly. Thanks, Ronnie. But anyways, Constantine left. Probably try to. Oh, he's back. Constantine, you want to talk about your fundraiser real quick?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Because I connected my Bluetooth. Headphone.
I would argue it's worse. What do you think, Kick?
It's definitely worse.
Okay, let me reconnect back.
Okay. All right, now try it. All right.
Is it better now?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'll guess I use the speaker from my
Yeah.
computer.
I I think like
the microphone.
the more important thing here is that you just speak loudly and clearly.
That's hard part.
Just like pretend you're really excited.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the excavator actually. So right now we are fundraising for an excavator. It's going to be used to build the fortifications, to build the foxholes for the crab vehicles, and for crab SPGs, and for personnel as well. This is like we transferred already 2 excavators from Liberty Foundation, and I personally fundraised for one of them. It was a small one. I think I've shown you the video, and I would appreciate if you could show this video, like
Okay.
how like this is not just fun. It's very important, and it's used on the front lines to actually build and save lives of the soldiers and equipment as well. So yeah, it's a small one. It's a 2-ton Yanmar. I think it's Yanmar Japanese excavator that costs around $100,000 new. We bought it used for $10,000, and we did the repairs on it for free because the seller was willing to do all the repairs before transferring it to us. It's small, but it's really well suited for for building trenches, specifically in the tree lines. I mean, it's not the best to build in the field because it's small, but in the tree lines, when you don't have that much room to maneuver, this thing is just is just amazing. And this is the excavator we transferred. It's working right now. It's transferred to 59th Brigade. You can see Liberty Ukraine Foundation logo, and it's still there. And it does just, you see how deep this trench is.
Yeah.
And it's this is a small bunker. Well, not small. It's not actually very small. It's pretty big, I would say. And you could then they will install concrete and logs on top of it. Put the dirt back on it, and it can with proper layering. Yeah, you can see how much dirt there is. It can withstand direct 155 millimeter hits, and that's a lot. That's like majority of the Russian artillery. So of course it will not save you from direct hit from a 500 kilo bomb, but it, like, if it lands, for example, 20 meters away from you, this thing can save the lives, and that's why I think it's super important. And we're $162,000. We're gonna buy a bigger one. We're gonna buy one that is on the wheels, not the tracked one. It's a bit more mobile. They ask us specifically because they have to move a lot between different positions to work on it. So it's more expensive, but it's much more mobile, and it's a bit bigger, of course. It's twice as big as this one. And we fundraised already $20,000 out of 60. Still have a long way to go. But with your help, we can get it closer. Yeah, this is and there is a second video if you don't mind. I know it's boring video but people may actually understand more.
This stuff is incredibly important, and I think everyone knows how important it is by now.
So,
because like
I'm gonna
these defenses are vital. Like
yeah.
they're like the
front
backbone of the military almost.
Yep. You're completely right. And unfortunately, we don't have enough of that equipment, and we need more. So I sent you another small video. How this is how the change that you're looking for, that we looked at right now. This is how it started. I'm sending you right now it on Telegram.
Okay.
It's a small video, maybe 20 seconds, but this is how it started, and it took them to dig that trench with this excavator. It took them less than 2 days, and if to do it manually, you would need like 20 people with shovels working for like 3-4 days. Well, not 20 people, but like 10 people working with shovels for 5 days straight. It's really a lot of dirt, a lot of and the ground is hard. It's not even though the winter is over, it's still cold, and the ground is really hard to dig. I think that you already have the
Yeah.
videos loaded.
I'm working on it. I saved it. I'm like navigating to the folder I saved it in. Okay, so here it is. Look at him go.
So this is how that trench started. You can see the excavator, like it digs inside, then it like moves backwards, then goes in again and removes another layer. And little by little, like over a period less than 2 days, it was they built this, and there are logs that they will use to reinforce it. So yeah, that's
a big one.
yeah, that's the one that we're fundraising for right now. Similar one, yeah, like this. So your aid is super important, and if you can donate, anything helps from $10 to to millions. It all helps. Average donations that I get is usually around $40. So don't be, some people are shy and don't say like, oh, I cannot do much, but even $20, even $10, they help. Fundraiser like this, I get around 1,200 donations, and they range from $1 to 4,000. So it all adds up. So thank you very much. Thank you for mentioning it, and thank you for your help.
Yeah, the best thing that you can do is donate like a little bit. Like you don't, like, we're not talking like you don't have to give your entire paycheck, but like whatever you feel comfortable with, whether it's like $1 or $5 or $10 or whatever, and then share it with somebody else too. That's the best, because you can, we have like a circle of people who know us, and those people, they help fundraise with us, but getting out of that circle into like the bigger world outside of it is really the key to making these fundraisers go quickly, and making them successful. So if you can share it with other people, it really helps a lot. Yeah, I'll put a link to your fundraiser. I think there already is a link to the fundraiser in the description, but I'm just gonna put like another one. So
yeah, thank you so much. It's really it really helps a lot, and this is right now the donations are drying out, and people are donating much less. So it's really important for me if audience other than the one that in my Twitter uses this, so sees this. So thank you.
Yeah, I put it in the description, the PayPal link. I'll put the tweet too. Why not? I know a lot of people who use YouTube, a lot of them don't have Twitter, which is interesting, but that's okay. I'll put a link to the Twitter there too.
Also, hi Andrew.
Hi.
And hi Geek and Konstantin. I was listening, and I think it's very important to highlight that digging good fortified positions and trenches is going to be even more important now than it was a year ago, because the rate of attacks against trenches and positions with FPV drones are just, it's skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they need well dug in positions, because these low, like hand dug trenches are just not making, and you know it, like you and Gik, you watch the same stuff that me and Daniela have been watching. It's horrible. And they need deep, good positions, really.
Yeah, with overhead protection.
Yep. Yeah. And thick walls.
Yeah.
So in terms of FPV drones on trenches, today Bobber released a video with thermobaric warheads on FPV drones, which is also a development which I'm not exactly looking forward to.
I think those have been around a bit. I know Ukraine uses them sometimes, not that often, but they use them sometimes. There was a video of the 65th Brigade. They were like in Rabatina. They were attacking a trench that was a little bit to the west of Rabatina. It's the trench is in this tree line right here. And what they were doing is they were taking an FPV drone that had been modified to be a dive bomber, and they were flying the FPV drone into the trench and then like flying vertically out. So they're like kind of like a check mark type shape where it was like going down on a steep angle then up like really fast. And they were using that to fling thermobaric grenades into the trench. Because the trench here, I don't know, I'm going to draw it with rulers. The trench is kind of this shape. Oh boy. Drawing with rulers is not the best way to draw, but it's like this, where it has this like overhead so like this would be like the hole, and you can go under it and hide like here. So like the trench you see is just here, but you can like go in it and hide on the sides. And what they were doing is they're flying the drone down like this and like throwing thermobaric grenades into like the sides and then flying back out, so this whole area would explode. And then they would like go in and hit one side and then come in the other side and hit the other side. So and they're wiping out the this whole area doing that, like just hitting them with thermobaric grenades going back and forth. And I think they pretty much cleared the whole trench with thermobaric grenades. So Ukraine has been using that sort of thing. I don't know if they've been using it that often, but I know the 65th does it.
Yeah, but as a dropped version, and they are now using the FPV drones themselves.
Yeah. I made Martin so sad drawing with rulers.
Is there a way that you don't have to re-enable the ruler?
I don't have to. I do it out of habit, but I don't need to do it. That's what pains him. No, there's no exit here. No, there's no exit here. Sorry. There's no boats. No boat. Well, there is boat news today, actually. There was a mine located somewhere in Odessa. I don't actually know where, but there was a mine located in Odessa. Right there. Look at that guy. And the sappers destroyed it. So that's your boat news for today. Well, like
There was boat news yesterday of an alleged strike on a Russian vessel in the Sea of Azov.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't map that, did we?
We didn't map it. We didn't have anything to map. We don't have proof either. It's just yeah. And I think there's an audio recording of the crew, and yeah.
The Panzer tipped over too.
Yeah, and did you see? I don't think we mapped it today because I think it's hard to geolocate and it's probably not worth it. But today, the GUR they released a video of an FPV drone strike or maybe a Punisher drone strike on a Panzer, and I can tell you that Panzer which tipped over in Sochi had more damage than that one.
Yeah, they say they took out 2 crewmen. I don't know if that's true, but I think if that happened, I think the crew took more damage than the Panzer.
Yeah, definitely, because I'm not even convinced it hit the Panzer. It might have hit the ground in front of it. I don't know. I feel like that video shouldn't have published because it just, a lot of text talking about the value of one Panzer and then you're not even hitting it.
Yeah.
It's not needed.
I'm trying to find the video of this is the video that I was talking about. So it's from the 9th or the 65th. We're going in with thermobaric grenades. I think there was another one too. No, that was it. Yeah. This was a really interesting video. I think one of the most interesting videos of drone usage. Anyways, there's not that much news today, to be honest. We do have this stat that Daniela put together. It's working. Okay, so I don't know. Do you want to talk about this chart?
Maybe Ellen wants to.
Ireland, would you like to talk about this chart? There's a no. Okay, so
we can hear you.
Yeah,
we can hear you
does.
typing.
I was like talking for a minute. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, so I sent that one because of the positions and because you were talking about the excavator. But yeah, I mean the Russians were basically the only ones striking positions in the beginning, and then Ukraine's kind of started doing it last month, but then this month they really started doing it. Want to mention that the Russians are their main focus is striking positions. So I mean, I'll send the rest as well. It's probably more interesting.
Yeah, we've or at least I've been talking about this for a while that Russia's main focus has been hitting defensive positions. I think people didn't believe me when I first brought this up. I don't know why. Like people are like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, okay, but yeah, they hit positions over and over and over again until they're destroyed. Like they'll hit a house like with FPV drones until the house collapses, or they'll hit a bunker until the bunker collapses. They'll just hit a tree line until the trees go away, and then they'll hit the trench.
Yeah, I think you probably know better than me, but the numbers from before February and January on positions are probably a lot higher than this though, because of the way you classify them in the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't.
You started logging this later, as far as I understood.
Yeah, I created a new spreadsheet for data on February 1st, and on February in that new spreadsheet, we are explicitly stating what the target is of the things that happen. So that is encoding this data.
Yeah. So it's it's maybe a little bit misrepresented before February and January maybe, but I sent the rest as well. I think it's more interesting actually, especially the infantry one. Yeah, I mean this is and a lot of these infantry is in positions.
Yeah, I was just gonna say exactly that. So a lot of times when Ukraine targets a trench, which would be, in the other category, it actually, aims for an individual infantry soldier in
Well,
that trench.
the way that I encode it, and when Gik encodes it differently, I change it. But so the way that I encode it is that infantry counts as people who are not in a defensive position. So that any defensive position I mark as the defensive position. And if infantry are just walking around, that's infantry. So that's how I've been encoding it.
So I've been doing it wrong for an entire month, and I'll find out now.
Yeah, when you do it, I change it.
Okay, I will align.
Well, I'm happy we have this open meeting for everyone.
Yeah.
Productive.
Yeah.
Back in meeting on YouTube.
Yeah, but I've been, because I watch every single video in a spreadsheet, and I make sure it's all categorized correctly, and that's one of the things I've been doing. So yeah, the infantry, they do not. It doesn't count a defensive position. The only exception is sometimes I can't tell if there is a defensive position. Like I can't tell if there is a defensive. Like it might be a foxhole or something. I don't like if I can't tell it's a defensive position. I just call it infantry. But most of the infantry are people just like walking down a road. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the majority of that is actually around Avdiivka, because there you had a lot of open fields that the Russians were crossing.
Yeah, I just want to say that this also reflects the munitions, ammo situation quite a lot.
Yeah, and Ukraine has been hitting vehicles a lot.
Yeah, this is what we want to see, in my opinion, being used. Like the FPV drones against high value targets is probably a better use case, but I mean, when they have to, of course, it's good that they adopt FPV drones for infantry as well. We've seen a lot of very, very cool new warheads for FPV drones, which are more aimed towards infantry. There was a very interesting video dropped 2 days ago, was it? As well, with a shrapnel warhead with a very successful hit. I'm not sure if that's going to be very widely spread, but that was Andrew, is it possible to show that video, or is it?
I'm afraid to show that video.
Yeah. Okay. But
Yeah.
it basically drops the munitions mid-air, and then it explodes after the drone flies away, a split second after the explosion happens, and it spreads shrapnel on infantry.
Yeah, those sorts of warheads are pretty interesting. There are other sorts of anti-infantry warheads, like I think they're from Bulgaria. They have an anti-infantry warhead for the standard or for the RPG-7.
Yeah.
And they've been using that sometimes. Not very often, but sometimes.
Yeah, but what we see now, and I like it, is that they have more and more munitions that are made specifically for drones, because it's good that you can stick an RPG warhead on an FPV drone and it works, but it's a lot more effective when you've made specific either shape charges or anti-infantry devices, or even devices made specifically to blow up positions. It's a lot more effective, and we can clearly see it in the videos.
Yeah, there's there have been some weird FPV drones out there. I think Gik, you probably noticed. There have been some where they had a heat round and an anti-infantry warhead on the same drone, flying it into stuff like that. So it's like the double warhead drone.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do both heat, but sometimes they do heat and anti-infantry.
You know what, Andrew? I just noticed looking at that graph, another line that, negatively correlates to those lines. It's the amount of sleep we get.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you.
It's actually crazy looking at that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh. Yeah, because we went from doing like 60 clips a day to doing like sometimes 300 a day. And like averaging like over 200 a day. Like 2 days ago we mapped like 180 and we couldn't even find like 2/3 of the clips. Yeah, so our sleep is it's like over here it was like 8 hours and then it just went down to like 1.
Yeah, it doesn't help when they suddenly drop like one video with 15 or 25 strikes in
Yep.
like 30 seconds.
But
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that like the last couple of days had been a bit more relaxing.
Yeah.
I feel like Ukraine did have some law on the release of videos and so on. So maybe some units adhere to that a bit more than others. But I feel like lately I had less links in to copy into the spreadsheet.
Yeah. At the same time, I get the impression that if we keep covering how many drones there are, they're just gonna publish more video to like it's like an arms race of who can publish the most videos. That's what I'm afraid of.
Okay. Do you want to say now that we're hiring?
Yeah. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know, dude. If you want to help us, you can feel free to. I mean, there's more room in the basement. We have more chains. So if you're gonna volunteer. Anyways, Orlivka. What do you believe these rumors that Ukraine kicked Russia out of Orlivka?
Avdiivka, I feel like yes,
You think
but sorry, what, again?
you think they kicked them out?
Yes, I think they kicked them out of most parts of Avdiivka. But because in my opinion, it's probably untenable for the Russians to be there unless they can break through the second line. So I think it's plausible that the Russians were kicked out of Avdiivka because it doesn't make sense for them to be there unless they can break through. And it looks like their current focus is rather to flank it from the north and actually go for Berdichi directly.
Yeah.
That's where we saw a couple of attacks. And there, I'm not convinced that the Russians are kicked out of Berdichi, rather that most likely that street, which has the shelling mark, which is actually the Bradley firing. So anyone who wants to watch the video can just click on that shelling mark there. I think that the Russians are still there in that street.
It could be. You could argue that Russia has captured this tree line. Remember that video that we couldn't identify? We couldn't find what angle it was coming from. With the Humvee. It may have been from this tree line because I kind of thought it was this tree line because it's like on a hill but none of the angles really made sense. This tree line, I think the angles do make sense. So it may have been that Russia has controlled this tree line for a long time, like maybe even like 2 weeks. But we haven't had like any evidence of that. But it's possible. Like they may completely control this tree line to the north of Berdichi, and they could control these like the majority of these two straits. Yeah, I mean maybe I'll change the map to that. I don't know. I try to be conservative in the way I map things.
Yeah, I mean the last evidence we see from there is the Bradley video, I think.
Yeah,
The Russian videos were still shelling, close to that water. So I think it's too early to change the map unless there's any precise evidence or at least someone trustworthy saying it.
Yeah. There was some analysis of Orlivka that I've seen that I saw today when I woke up. And the analysis of Orlivka was that if Russia breaks through this town, it would be a disaster for the defensive position for Ukraine at the moment. Not necessarily in the future, but like right now. But like if they broke through right now, it would be a train wreck. And for that reason, Ukraine is basically willing to throw it as many resources as they can get into the town to keep it. So that was, and that was coming from a guy that I trust a lot. I don't know if I'm breaking up in Discord. I think I am, but I think I'm fine on the live stream.
Affirmative.
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it.
You have too many monitors and too many browsers open.
I think it's because I'm streaming such a high quality clip to Discord. I think that's the issue. Anyways. So anyway, there's the rumor that Ukraine kicked everybody out of Orlivka, although I have not seen proof. Although it seems logical that they would. And we have video of Russia in the southern part of Novomykhailivka, although I don't trust flags.
I mean, to be fair, that's not only a flag, but it's a guy holding a flag. So it's a bit different than a drone dropping a flag somewhere.
Yeah, but the last time we saw a guy holding a flag, we saw another clip of what happened like 2 minutes later.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the way they're standing there, they are basically hugging the wall. Everyone but him, and I'm pretty sure that he just, he probably pulled the shortest straw. So he's basically the one there. Yeah, that's not tight. He's basically the one who probably, I don't know, they are willing to sacrifice to the FPV gods. But at the same time, we know that they've been there, and I'm not sure if I'm convinced that they are there recently.
I just now listened to the audio. I didn't realize he was saying Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that because I watch almost every clip without sound. I wasn't expecting him to say that, to be honest. Yeah, I know I'm not playing the audio. The audio doesn't matter. He just says Assalamu alaikum. So, yeah, this is this doesn't strike me as Russian control, to be honest. This building, Russia tried assaulting this building a lot, and it went very badly for them. That building is like here, which it would be this one, right? Whatever. They tried to assaulting this whole area.
I'm not sure if you're showing it to the people.
Oh yeah. I forgot. So It's this. It's these buildings here. They tried assaulting here so many times, and it went so badly. They lost like right here. They lost a whole ton of vehicles. They lost like T-80s, BMPs, T-72s, like so many right there. They lost MTOBs and stuff all throughout these buildings. They lost just a ton of equipment attacking here originally. Now Ukraine, I think, has pulled back out of here because it's been so contested. Um, so yeah, I just don't know. My question is, how do you think they got there? Do you think they came from the south or from the east?
I don't. It depends on when the video was actually taken.
Yeah.
Because they could. I mean, we know they've been in those buildings in their last attack. They reached pretty far. So in that instance, I would have said it's probably from there, and it's probably come from the east.
Yeah,
I mean, the south. You know, Ukraine still controls the parallel tree lines. I don't know. I think it's a suicide mission.
Yeah, there's just so many vehicles right here. In fact, I kind of want to show how many vehicles there are. So I'd like to go into my special panel and activate the vehicles.
And I think we're still waiting for some of them to be published.
I expect there to be a lot more of these incidents because when Russia expands the area of operation quite drastically, I mean, comparative to what they normally do, they lose even more oversight and operational awareness than what they like. It's not like they have a fantastic operational awareness always, right? And in this case, I think what we see is basically them completely losing it. Even the Russians, and wouldn't do this if they knew exactly what they were getting into.
Yeah. So these are all the vehicles that we know were lost. A lot of these I found on satellite imagery, and but a bunch we had already located using.
I don't think we see it.
Oh god, I keep doing that. Oh yeah, I don't know how to fix that actually. Here, I'll do this. Okay, so here are all the vehicles that we know about. A lot of these I found on satellite imagery. Some we had located prior. All the ones that we located were wrong. Not all of them, but a bunch of them were wrong. Some of them hilariously wrong. But these are all perfectly geo-referenced losses. So this is how many vehicles that we know Russia lost attacking this town. And this is like the minimum, because I couldn't get an image south, because we know that they lost astronomical numbers of vehicles, like right here. But I couldn't get an image of it. I couldn't get like a good image, and they also lost huge numbers over here as well. So yeah, this is the minimum that they've lost. Yeah. A lot. I think I counted 137. Yeah, I don't know. Not counting it again. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. What's the next topic that you'd like to talk about? There's not much else, to be honest, to talk about.
Should we talk about today's elephant in the room?
The airplane?
No, not the airplane. That's
Okay.
of course something, but there's actually two things we need to mention. I think one of them is.
I think he wants to talk about the co-national of his.
Yeah. I want to talk about something that happened in Germany.
Oh yeah.
That was rather stupid. Actually, I don't necessarily want to talk about it, but I saw it talked in chat, so we should mention it. But the other thing is also that, with predictions, we have learned that we need to be really, really careful. I know it's not a bridgehead, but Erland predicted that Ukraine would try something like a bridgehead. And we heard of the
Please
operation.
don't blame it on me.
Oh, yeah, I will totally blame it on you. I have I'm sorry, but
That's
yeah,
bad omen, man. That's super bad omen.
It's just the power of our stream. That is the power of it. You have to wield it wisely.
Yeah, but something happened, and that's why next time you predict something like that, Erland, you should predict a successful bridgehead. That would have helped. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. So what happened here is that the 7th Naval SSO, basically, or the Marine SSO, they tried to land on that spit. It's not yet officially communicated what was the target, but we know that there's a lot of equipment surrounding the lighthouse there. So it could very well be that they had, I don't know, that they wanted to disable some EW targets or radar targets or something like that, which would make sense to some extent. If you plan any sort of operation in the Black Sea, blinding the enemy there would be very helpful, and that also applies to your attacks with USVs. We did have, I think, decent weather in the last 2 days for USV attacks, so it could be that the 73rd operation was supposed to maybe clear the way for such a USV attack, maybe. But anyway, it did not go according to plan. Some people were killed. Now, the image of the Marines killed there, I just want to state that it does not look like they were killed on the boat. The Russians try to paint it as such. I think their goal is to make everyone believe, that the operation, it was doomed to fail as such, and Ukraine couldn't even land there. It rather looks like they were probably dragged back onto the boat to give exactly that picture. One more thing to note is that the Russians today released a video of a POW, so they captured at least one of those Marines. Yeah, so there's that. Anyway, yeah,
I have
I
a
totally
question.
blame it on Erland.
Constantine, did you watch that video?
No, actually did not. I
Yeah.
cannot.
No.
That's too much for
I
me.
was just curious what you thought of the way he spoke, because the way he spoke was not natural. It didn't feel natural.
You have to send the link to me. I can get back to you in 5 minutes.
The Budanov video.
No,
No, the
the
POW.
POW video.
Not the POW video.
I don't have it like offhand.
And
I don't like watching PW videos, but if you send me, I can take a look and tell you if it's
I'm gonna send you just now. 1 second.
I just want to say that it really, really, like it doesn't pain me more because of the personal losses when I see special forces being lost, but when when it comes to all the hours it took to train these operatives and the efforts that they've put into it themselves and others to train them, it really pains me to see that they lose operatives. And I hope that what was accounted is true in a way, because it makes it less painful in a way to see that, to hear that they did defend retreating fellow soldiers. But yeah, it's I scratch my head when I see these kind of operations, to be honest, because I've seen so many successful operations and accounts of these sort of operations from them, and this one just I have to scratch my head. I don't understand exactly What
Well-
made them go to do such a risky mission?
You know, I mean, they've done similar ones. They did the platforms in the Black Sea. They also did some bridgeheads, right? What's interesting is that what came known is that one of potentially those Marines posted an Instagram post something about the Kherson operation, which kind of, you know, if you follow him and if you were Russian, you could be alarmed by that. Of course, that's a lot of blame put on one Instagram post, but yeah, you just, you know, you should be completely in the dark if you're one of those people.
Yeah, but yeah, the oil platforms that they actually succeeded. I don't know if they took any major losses there. We might never know.
And we don't know if this one wasn't a success. We don't know that.
Yeah, there were some landings in Crimea that the Russians painted as a failure. But then shortly after, Ukraine did some stuff that made it clear that it wasn't a failure at all.
Oh yeah, no, that was totally a success. It was a success. I don't know if all their targets were achieved in a sense, but we will never know again. But they definitely did significant damage. Like I was incredibly impressed by that. And what I also was incredibly impressed by was the succession of repetitive, really high end special operation missions that were executed in a very short time frame. So that was obviously planned for a very long time, and they probably trained specifically for those missions also for a long time. And that's when I see these missions like the one on the Spit there, I question if someone, decided to skip the homework. But that's just me being a little bit skeptical.
Yeah, but we're still looking at the Russians, and they still do have capable forces and means. It's easy to always expect everything to go right if Ukraine planned it, because Ukraine is superior. But we also have to acknowledge that the Russians, can sometimes be very capable.
Yeah. Konstantin, did you watch that clip? Okay.
I have
Sounds
not actually. Did you? Where did you send it? Oh, in general.
Yeah.
Give me
Okay, we need to find stuff to talk about that mission until Konstantin is done.
Yeah, I can't click this dot because it is not YouTube friendly. It's not a YouTube friendly dot. Yeah. I don't know what to say. We know that Russia has done similar attacks on Ochakiv and various other areas in this along this coastline here. That their missions have similarly ended. Well, most of them are pretty failure, pretty bad. So we know that Russia does the same sort of things. They try to launch attacks along the coast. Maybe some of them have been successful. We don't know about them. I don't really know. Maybe Exit knows some. I don't know, but I don't really. I know they've been trying to infiltrate Ukraine to just get people operating in the greater Mykolaiv area, to do things like spot targets for missiles, etc. I imagine that's their purpose. Or maybe to destroy specific installations. Anyways,
I think Konstantin watched it by now.
Yeah, I watched it. I ran through. No, it seems natural. Man. He's scared, obviously, and it seems quite natural.
Okay. Do you want to talk about France?
Oh no, no.
I think we need to start. I think we need to start in the other end and then arrive to the reaction, to that.
You want to start with Germany? Is that the other end?
I mean, what? So last week there was this thing in Paris, right? And the question about troops in Ukraine was loosely talked about, but it didn't really start to be serious until the series of, I don't know how badly advised someone can be as a state leader, but the level that your guy Gick has achieved, I have never seen. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it's been pretty embarrassing for Germany in the last. I mean, at least you could say that someone was embarrassed in Germany, but in the end, it still reflects on the rest of the population and how people perceive them. And while Germany does a lot of good, that guy has been an absolute train wreck this last week.
The thing that makes my mind blow up is that I've been so happy about all the aid that has been coming in from Germany and how they were on the track to be the leader of European aid to Ukraine. And then in 3 days, that guy manages to completely train wreck the whole image of Germany being, the ones taking the lead and dragging all the other nations with them to support Ukraine. Because, I mean, shouldn't hide that Germany is actually, providing the most of the aid that is coming into Ukraine right now. And has been for, since the Yanks started their thing over at the house. But yeah.
I think we should maybe summarize what actually happened. And I don't know, do you want to or Andrew, do you know exactly what Macron said and how it's been interpreted and that kind of stuff?
I don't know the exact quote, but I think I know the general gist of what he was saying. In general, he was saying that he can't rule out any future scenario in Ukraine. And I know I'm breaking up in Discord, but I'm not breaking up on the stream, so get over it. He can't rule out any future. So he was basically saying that he wasn't committing to sending troops to Ukraine. He was just saying we don't know what's going to happen. That it could be that we have to send troops for some reason, or it could be that if we don't send troops, there could be some disastrous outcome. I think he was basically saying that any outcome where Russia wins the war would be devastating to Europe, and Europe as a whole has to be ready to not let that happen. And I know now Erlin is typing to me. I know you couldn't hear most of that, but the people could.
Yeah, I think what Macron said is absolutely right. He's absolutely right in what he says. There's a lot of issues which Western countries should solve. There's a lot of things that Western countries could still do, including releasing some of the burden on Ukraine by taking over some of the work that needs to be done, which is relatively secure. So I personally, I'm absolutely in line with Macron. Having said that, and any such decision would honestly get my support. But now let's talk about Scholz, I guess. Erlen, do you want to? Because I can't, I'm too German for this.
No, but The thing is that I've been just observing it through you guys. Really, I didn't go and read the actual reports because I've been getting it from you and from German Aid. So yeah, I think if you know in detail what happened, it'd be best, and then I can say what I think about it.
Well, I mean, in general, Scholz affirmed to the public that there's not going to be any European or NATO troops in Ukraine. So basically, he was more or less speaking for several countries, even though he's obviously not elected to do so. And further, his statement is wrong, and this alone gave him so much PR issues speaking for other countries that he kind of tried to, I don't know if his purpose was to repair it or whatever, but he kind of tried to then explain what he meant with that, and he then leaked information about British and I think French, no, not French, but British operations in Ukraine, which is, just the next complete, I don't know, it feels like, kindergarten sometimes.
Yeah, so I think the nature of the operatives that are in Ukraine, and I think he might have said French as well. I think he was talking about so he coupled this to the Taurus, right? So that was also one of the things he was saying. No, we cannot send the Taurus, not just because we don't want to send it, but because we don't want to. We cannot send German troops to Ukraine because of some parliament stuff and some German law that is connected to that you're very scared of sending soldiers abroad, I guess, which that's fine. But so that and he said that he cannot send the Taurus because he can't send the troops. And by the way, the UK and France does it. So he got a lot of pushback for that because I don't think the troops that are in Ukraine from UK and possibly France are there for their Storm Shadows and Scalp EGs.
They pilot them, don't they?
on the Ghost Gripen.
Yeah, and then of course the whole shebang about what kind of troops that are in Ukraine from the UK and France basically has been, openly talked about, and the nature of those sort of missions they do, and what kind of capability it is, makes it incredibly sensitive, and you don't really talk about that in the media.
Yeah, and this is something which I said earlier, that if Scholz is under pressure, he tends to be super stubborn and behaves like an idiot, basically. And this is exactly one of those moments. He was under pressure for what he said, and he just made it so much worse. But incredible.
But it was, so the thing is, he starts off by, we can't send the Taurus, but then he got into this thing where he made some logical fallacies, public. Like, people couldn't really understand what is he saying here now, and he obviously understood that. So then he had to dig his grave deeper and deeper. Was it 3 different incidents in 1 week, wasn't it?
Yeah, and now there's the next level, because the Russians now, they helped disprove what Scholz said. I'm not sure if the Russians should be glad that, Scholz is Scholz. But now the Russians made it worse, because what happened today is that Simonian, some PR, head of PR or whatever it is, in Russia, she released a, I think, 30-minute audio transcript recording of German Luftwaffe generals and some experts in, with Taurus, on the discussion about sending Taurus to Ukraine. And now everyone knows that Scholz is lying, because they And I want to say this in front. Those people in that call, they, it's very German, it's very authentic. I really did not have any issues listening to it. And also, they are pretty based because they are actually, they are preparing for the scenario. What if a decision comes, just in case, if they need to send it, and they are preparing for that, and they're planning through that. So this is actually all good and very based. They're also talking about basically how it's actually feasible and how it could be done, even without boots on the ground. So all of that is possible, and Russia basically just released that, saying, hey, Scholz is lying to you. You can send Tauros, more or less. I mean, the bad part of that audio transcript, obviously, is Russia had access to a very, very secret information. They also do talk about more or less the precise plans on bridge. They also talk about some details on the Ukrainian Air Force, which you don't want to have out there. So all of that, of course, is a giant embarrassment again for German secrecy, whatever. But what's being said, in fact, is pretty based. That's a pretty good thing. And I support those 4 people. And I know they're probably going to be through a lot of shit in the next couple of days and weeks. There might be some, some of them might even lose their jobs. Who knows? It makes you wonder, what else did the Russians listen to? What else information did they get? And reminds you that sometimes, other countries do not want to share information with us being, German officials and so on, for those obvious reasons. So something like this just can't happen. But if what is released now is the most damaging that the Russians got, because they wouldn't publish their access to one of those channels, right? They wouldn't publish it because they would lose that access, obviously. So if this is the most damaging they got from whatever access they had, then I think it's okay. It's an embarrassment, but it might not be as bad as some people fear it might.
But, in all this mess and negativity, I think, as a German, I understand you are obviously pissed because this shouldn't happen. But on the other hand, France hasn't been really the best contributor for, Ukraine's war effort, except, of course, they sent the scalp. But on a net total, it's
Erland, this isn't about comparing countries. Everyone should do whatever they can to support Ukraine. This is what we naturally should do, no matter the country. And if a country can send less or does less, it doesn't matter, because you yourself still need to be whatever is best for Ukraine and its population. This is all that counts.
Yes, I agree. But I mean, France has been dragging their feet in this. And if this is what it takes for France to suddenly do something that really makes a very big difference for Ukraine, then so be it. It's embarrassing for Germany. It's especially the intelligence leak. But I think maybe the Russians are actually not doing themselves a favor by publishing it. I think maybe it can cause a reaction that they do not want.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I tried to say earlier. I think that them releasing that might not have been the smartest move.
Yeah. And the same with all the, blunders of Scholz. It could, end up being good for Ukraine in the end.
Yeah.
Scholz is very stubborn, though.
He is. And he will be even more stubborn now, because people will ask him about, why do your journalists think you're lying? And that will just make him, make up more reasons. I don't know. But in the end, for what happened in the last week or two, you really have to ask yourself, can this person, you don't just go around leak information like that. You don't just tell, the Russians what they want to hear, and there needs to be some consequences for that. There probably won't be, but I, as a German, I totally think there need to be consequences for that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the only consequences are an election.
And they're gonna elect AFD, or how that crazy right-wing stuff is called.
I'm not convinced the AfD would get elected.
But they will get good percentage, right? And it's growing all the time.
No, I'm not convinced by that. But I think that the government would definitely form differently. There would be probably two parties losing significantly from the current parliament, and then you would get an interesting combination. Even though, you know, I don't. There's, to be honest, I mean, I don't want to talk about voters' preferences and so on individually or about my own, but personally, I have gained the impression in the last couple of months that a party which I thought I would never be able to vote for is the only party currently reflecting some sort of rationality. So I can say that the war has definitely changed my voting behavior.
Yeah. In other news, should I change the subject? Do you want to continue talking about this?
I mean, what? So now we have the German scandal, but what then? What's happening in France?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't get to it.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about France?
Well, I guess the latest statement from the French has been that there's a higher chance that, or what was it, that some forces might cross the Ukraine border. I thought that was a very strange way of phrasing it.
I think didn't he say that to secure areas of the country?
Yeah.
I took that to mean the West.
Yeah, but it was just the cross the border thing. I mean,
Yeah. It would be interesting. So there's kind of this thing where Belarus doesn't really want a bad relationship with Europe. And there could be some sort of way to leverage that to get a European army on the Belarusian border. And maybe even Transnistria. And that would free up a lot of soldiers for Ukraine. If they didn't have to worry about Belarus and Transnistria, they could put a lot more troops on the front. So maybe that's what they're talking about.
You know, I would be highly skeptical towards a European force being in a defensive role towards Belarus, or the crazy guys down at Transnistria. But what I could see happening is a training mission or something similar would take place where you could still relieve some troops, and you can place that strategically somewhere. But
they wouldn't. You wouldn't necessarily have to defend. That's kind of the interesting thing, is that they could enter as maybe a UN peacekeeper.
Yeah, I mean that won't happen because Russia has veto in the
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a UN, maybe an EU peacekeeper.
Yeah, and that can happen. And I mean, there's no precedence for a large European peacekeeping mission, but what I would like to see is, not just France going in with a brigade and start training some people, but cooperation, because as soon as European militaries has a foothold in a joint effort inside Ukraine proper, that I think the way back from that would not be very easy, and definitely it would make it more probable that maybe sometime in the future you would also get the US involved in something like that. For me, it's still like kind of unrealistic to see something like that happen, but when the first step has kind of, if the French can pave the way for this, and there has been, some statements from the Baltic leaders that they definitely are in on it, and even if they can't really contribute with a lot, the Baltics, they know that if this is a joint mission, not just something from the French, it means a lot more, especially commitment wise in the long term.
I mean, but also let's also be honest. If NATO or any NATO countries going to do anything like that, we could end this entire thing faster by simply using the Air Force.
Yeah, but so you mean like sending
You
in
know,
the
even Scholz would be right with his no boots on the ground theory, if it's the Air Force, because there's no boots on the ground. You can, with the arsenal that the West has in the air, you can actually, you can put an end to the Russian offensive, and you can likely, damage the logistics up to the point that Russia has no feasible way of holding that ground. And you don't need anything else.
So you're talking about the closing the sky, basically.
Closing the sky is one thing, but the other thing is also to actively engage.
But that's NATO war with Russia.
Yes, kind of. But at the same time, it comes at the invite of Ukraine.
It's not going to happen. No one is going to fire at Russians in any capacity. They're not going to do it. There is no chance.
But where do you risk more? If we say that a training mission is plausible, that training mission as well as a valid target, and Russia is definitely
they can eat ammo missiles from Russia, but they will not engage Russian forces. At best, they can install air defense systems to shut down Russian incoming missiles. They're not gonna send. There is no consensus. There is absolutely no chance that it's gonna happen. That any Western country would engage with Russians first. Not a chance in the world.
But that's an interesting theory, because then we say, okay, we're going to have boots on the ground. We're going to have, say, training missions. For that, we are going to need air defense. And probably ground-based air defense is not going to be enough, but we will have to cover some parts of the air defense through fighter jets in the area, don't we?
Possibly.
So then you're closer to that.
Yeah,
and then the question will...
No fighter jets. There are going to be no fighter jets either. No, not a chance, man.
Probably nothing of that will happen.
The thing is, Konstantin is right here, but and I understand Geek's logic. I mean, it would make sense. It's just it's NATO forces on Russian combat troops, and that is what everyone wants to avoid in the West. I don't think the idea the French, president has been pushing here has anything to do with that at all. He has probably been counseled by someone who said that it is possible to establish a garrison or an area in the West where you have a larger presence of Western soldiers, not to engage in anything, only to train and possibly also to relieve Ukrainian troops from that area. Why? Well, because they believe that the Russians won't engage it. And at maximum, if they will engage it, might be with drones, similar to what we see in, the Iranians doing with the American bases in the Middle East.
You could
I mean-
also say that if you hype up sending troops and there's giant pushback, the logical step to not sending troops is to send more equipment.
True. One thing I would like to see, if this is a reality, is a Western field hospital or more being established in Ukraine. And I honestly do not understand why, for 2 years now, we have not put European military field hospitals in the so-called safe areas in Western Ukraine. For me, it's an absolute mystery.
I mean, there's a lot of mystery about this, and in terms of how do we respond to Russian missiles flying through Poland or Romania or Moldova. There's a lot of mystery, and there's a lot of no balls involved.
Yeah. Well, maybe Schultz has revealed that someone might have some balls.
Yeah, and it's the guy no one expected.
Yeah, but also, talking about the training mission, I mean, there's just so many things. Like, you can, of course, release parts of the troops, maybe if you cover for some of their work. But in the end, a training mission needs people to be trained, and this is something you don't get around. And if we say, okay, we're gonna cover some parts of the work, you send those troops, I don't know, to frontline trenches. It's temporary effect. Is it going to be enough for Russia to have weakened their supply lines enough? I don't know. A lot needs to happen for anything like that to be feasible, in my opinion, and none of that happened in Ukraine itself so far. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
Yeah. There's a question here. Didn't the Netherlands send a field hospital? I think wasn't that just like a vehicle, or
No, it's just the equipment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the doctors and nurses and all the logistics that is around that, because that is also another aspect of things Ukraine need. It is qualified doctors and nurses. This would free up more capacity at where it's needed. There are also civilians suffering because the availability of doctors and nurses is scarce because of the war. So, a couple of Western field hospitals close to the border would make a lot of sense to me.
Well, like, do you mean hospitals for who? For soldiers?
Well, it doesn't necessarily needs
I
to
don't
be
think
just for
civilians
soldiers.
will go to the field hospitals. Like, you live in you live in Lviv. You're not like in the city. You're not gonna definitely travel to some field hospital somewhere, God knows where, for your checkup or anything like that. So and probably like field hospitals, they're usually for things like trauma, or some disease, like infectious disease such as flu, etc. um like it's and you send people there when maybe when you have no capacity in your main hospitals, I can imagine that. But like the Western countries, I think it's easier for them to say, okay, let's, instead of setting up those hospitals, let's just accept soldiers, for example. And this is happening already, not on the huge scale, but still, let's accept soldiers from Ukraine into our hospitals in France, in Germany, in United States, even, or wherever you can. I think it's more, it's happening. I think expanding that would make more sense than making field hospitals on the western part of the country or near the border. Of course, like if they could do this in the eastern part, like near, they would come in, build a, I don't know, underground hospital, or like with the, not complete underground hospital, but a field hospital somewhere under the ground, or even not underground. That would help, like stabilization points, maybe. Well, stabilization is more Ukrainian, but for soldiers on the front lines,
Hmm.
it would be more. I would suggest that this would be something that can theoretically happen. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it's going to be too useful to have something like that on the western border. It's more like, not helping, but just doing something so you're not bored too much.
Yeah, I of course agree that field hospitals with trauma surgeons are more useful in the eastern parts of Ukraine, eastern or southern, of course.
I just don't see someone, travel, like I live, for example, in Ivano-Frankivsk or Lviv or Ternopil. I don't see myself, thinking, oh, I have a flu or I broke my arm. Let me drive to the field hospital, friend's field hospital, somewhere on the border with the European Union. I would I would go to my local hospital. And like I don't think we have that huge lines that like it's a pandemic. I mean, there is pressure, of course, but it's easier, I would say, maybe expand current hospitals. Like let's give them equipment, let's finance building new campus for this hospital, and let's finance salaries of I don't know, three surgeries or something. I think that's more realistic and more and it would actually help, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. My thought was something that I had back from when I was very frustrated that we're not doing a lot in the beginning of the war or full scale invasion, and I was like, why are we not sending field hospitals? Because there was a lot more chaos and problems in the beginning, and I've registered that Ukraine was
I agree
managed.
that it would be the correct way to do it at the beginning, when things were really chaotic.
Yeah.
But now it's, I don't think it's going to be too helpful. But at the beginning, definitely that would be something to look into.
What's this dog, Andrew?
She got hurt in artillery. She was shelled today in Vovchansk. This building collapsed on her. She has a broken leg. And they brought her to the vet. And they're fixing her leg now. The other picture shows her broken leg, and I don't want to show that picture. It's sad.
Yeah, let's try to get better news.
I have worse news.
There's okay. Then let's say one thing which might be good in between. So today there was a lot of chatting about strikes on Crimea. Some of which seemed rather plausible. There are pictures of smoke. I'm not sure how verifiable they are. It doesn't show a lot. But the rumor is that I think even 2 air bases had been attacked, and something in Sevastopol directly. So in the city of Sevastopol. I hope that we will learn more about that in the future, and get some proper and verifiable results there.
Yeah, they said they hit some helicopters and an airplane.
Yeah, I think it was 3 Ka-52, which are allegedly hit, but
Yeah, who knows if that's true or not. Right here in the Zium district, an elderly man did something very stupid. He picked up a mine and it blew up in his arm, his hand. So don't pick up mines. Don't pick up mines, please.
That reminds me, do you want to talk about the Pick'em and Russians picking them up?
Yeah, there's a story that as the Russians are moving forward, they've been suffering wounds from the unexploded cluster munitions. They've been stepping on them, picking them up, and I think they also said driving over them. So, people were saying that cluster munitions are very bad because they don't all explode, and the Russians are trying to clean them up, apparently. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to add?
To that, no, but also that in Kherson there was an interesting story. The Russians seem to have this tendency to mine, pass around their own bases, and in Kherson, they did just that, and they drove above their own mine and exploded. So that was also something interesting this week.
Yeah, their vehicle completely detonated. I can't, you can barely tell what kind of vehicle it was. But yeah, there's been more mine-related news. Some of it good. These guys, right here. I think there's a video of it too. Let me see if there's a video. Yeah, here's the video. These dudes have been clearing mines in Kherson. That's pretty cool. He does it with a big stick.
EOD school, U.S. Army approved.
Yeah. These are pedal mines.
Okay. It's the little toy.
Yeah.
Plastic toy.
Yeah. These mines are not particularly dangerous. But yeah, this is their life. You just pick up a mine, put it in a hole. Pick up a mine, put it in a hole. Yeah. So anyways, there's these guys, they've been clearing stuff. This is a pedal mine, by the way, if you don't know what they are. They have very little explosive in them, and they don't really make shrapnel. The point of it, there's these two wings that come out, and if you bend those wings apart from each other, further apart than they already are, if you bend the wing, it explodes, and they're designed to to blow your foot off, basically. They're bad. So they've been clearing mines there. I talked about the sea mine that they cleared, and yeah, that's today's mine news. I think there is more mine news. Yeah, I've been marking where the sappers have been working, because it's just interesting. But they've been clearing mines in Poltava, which is kind of interesting because some of these areas I'm not sure Russia ever got to, and it makes me think that these mines might be Shaheds or missiles. And also, the British gave this.
They give one or more.
I don't know. This is a mine wolf.
Which century is this? How old is this thing?
It's very old.
It looks really old, but it has remote control, right?
But it looks like it's remote control through a cable, maybe.
Well, still good. Unless the cable breaks and this thing goes around going crazy by itself. Massacre people.
You're
I mean,
just-
it's not a bison, but it's cool. Any of such equipment helps.
I don't think it's old. I'm gonna look it up. The company was founded in 2001 or 2008 or 1998. 1998 was when they were founded, so it's not that old. You guys are acting like it's from like the 50s.
Well, do they maybe the company takes old vehicles and modernizes them with remote control? We have to know, but because it looks like but yeah, no, it's fine. It looks great, and thanks to Great Britain and for helping us. So absolutely amazing.
Official gratitude from Constantine.
Huh?
Was that official gratitude from Constantine to the UK government?
Yes, thank you. Have you heard they elected Galloway as MP, or was it hallucinated? That crazy conspiracy theorist.
I've seen that. I don't even want to think about it, so I didn't dig into it.
Yeah, I did not want to think about it either.
Andrew, can we talk about craters?
Oh yeah, you're really into craters. By the way, this vehicle came out in 2011. So it's not an old vehicle. It is actually very recent.
That tractor track looks old.
You're just making fun of it because you're not that cool.
I don't. Does it have a cable?
I don't know.
I thought so, but it might be the belt.
I don't think that thing has a cable, man.
I don't think there's a cable.
Yeah, it
think
might be
you-
the belt.
You're just making fun of a machine. You're just making fun of it.
I mean, it says
It's-
Radiomatic.
Yeah. What about it? This is it's a Mine Wolf 370. That's what it's called. An MW 370. Okay, so for craters, Gick has he is something awakened in him recently, where he noticed that tanks fall in holes, and it really upsets him.
It upsets me if it's on one side. It doesn't upset me if it's on the other side. Then I find it funny and stupid that it happens to the Russians. But yeah, like I have developed some sort of phobia basically against craters, because in the last week I think I've seen, I don't know, something like 6 or 7 vehicles which were lost to stupid holes in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
the Martyr is an
the
example.
Martyr fell in the hole. I'm looking for the BMP that fell in the hole.
That's north of Shevchenko, Volodya area.
Oh yeah. BMP fell in the hole. That's a really big hole. I don't know how you fall in that hole, to be honest. Like, there's some holes I can understand, but this hole is like many times bigger than the BMP.
Yeah, it's about the scale of the hole that the Leopard was in.
Yeah. So there have been a lot of holes.
Yeah, Corner released today a video of I hope it's a Russian tank in a hole. So,
Yeah.
so like, maybe it's just my impression. Maybe I've become more careful when looking at losses lately. But I feel like in the last couple of weeks, maybe, or last 2 weeks, that the occurrence of vehicles in holes. And also, I must say that some of the ones I know are stuck in holes or trenches are not even yet published. So there's still more to come with holes and trenches and craters, and it's mind-blowing to me.
What if I told you that fell in a hole has been a category of vehicle loss the entire time? And I've been tracking it.
you would absolutely blow my mind, and I would need to see those stats.
Here's a video from a while. Oh, never mind. The video is deleted. Here's another one. I'm gonna check to see if I can share this video first, because I obviously don't remember this random video from a long time ago.
You know, one of the reasons why it annoys me so much is that so many times
Yes.
I geolocate some Russian FAB strike, some airstrike somewhere, and it entirely misses. You know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, great.
You remember
Another-
this tank?
Of course, I remember this thing. Yeah.
Do you remember the most amazing part of this tank?
It survived.
They attacked this tank dozens of times. They never destroyed it, and Ukraine recovered it.
But what I was going to say is that often, you know, I geolocate those airstrikes and they miss a tree line. So I know that that's a good strike because it missed. But now every time it misses, I think, oh no, another tank is going to get lost to that crater. So, like,
here's another one. Another tank in a hole. I can't
Yeah.
show that more of that video, but this is a T-72 AV in the hole. Yeah, I've been tracking tanks falling in holes. Here's another one. Oh boy.
oh yeah, that's
Taking a nap.
Apache videos are never too good for YouTube. I can tell you already.
Okay, I should not have clicked that one. Okay, let's go to another one. This is
Okay.
this is just a photograph, so I could check it much easier. Oh, yep. This one fell in a hole. Here, I'm
I
gonna
don't
take.
see it yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a screenshot of it. Yeah, it fell in a hole.
That looks like the vehicle was there first and the hole came after.
No. There's actually a funny story to this. It fell in the hole. Like it drove up. I think it got hit by an FPV drone, and then it backed up into the hole. They recovered it, and they recovered it. They drove it backwards like a few hundred meters, and then it got hit by an FPV drone and exploded. But yeah, this hole was created by an MTLB full of ammo. So an MTLB drove in here, exploded, and then another vehicle drove into the MTLB hole and got stuck. And yeah, so this was just a train wreck for the Russians. But yeah, that's another hole. I'm gonna keep showing more holes. You really love these holes, but
No, just stop showing more holes.
no more holes.
No more holes. I'm having nightmares.
But these are Russians and holes.
Yeah, those are Russians. Those are good losses, but yeah. But for the Marder, I can say that, you know, that hole, that crater there where the Marder is stuck, that crater has been there for quite some time. But what changed is actually the brigade working in that area. So 25th, I'm not sure if the entire 25th, most likely not, but some battalion of the 25th operating those Marders was sent to Avdiivka. in support, and they probably didn't know that area all too much, and at least that's how I kind of guess what happened. The previous brigades, 110th or something like that, they would most likely know there's a crater and not drive into it. But
Yeah, the other day I was telling you about a Ukrainian tank that fell in the hole, and they just kept hitting it with lancets. This is that tank. This is a tank in a hole. They hit this tank with so many lancets, and then Ukraine recovered it. It was never destroyed. Hey, thanks for the coffee money. Buy some coffee. Thank you. So yeah, I've been tracking tanks falling in holes. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? I track everything.
yeah, I will not start tracking it. I will. No, I will. I will refuse to.
I mean, you are all I need to know is that you message me like another one happened, like it happened again. They're like, oh, okay. I just mark it as fell in hole. That's literally the marking. Like this is what it is in the database. It's fell in hole.
I will never write this. Sorry, I will refuse to.
Yeah, I've bought satellite images. I've bought a few. I haven't bought any recently. It's going to become satellite season soon. Spring is a really good time for satellites. Right, the winter is bad. Like winter is bad for satellites. But winter will end soon. Did you see the video the other day of Ukraine hitting an M113 with drones? Because they just kept hitting it with a drone.
You broke up, but I think you said hitting an M113
Yeah.
with the Russian infantry inside.
Were they Russian?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
They hit it with
I
like
think-
5 drones in a row.
Yeah, I think that was a known abandoned M113.
Okay.
And I remember I meant to look it up where it is exactly because I knew the M113, and I'm pretty sure it was in Russian occupied territory. So most likely they climbed into it for cover.
Didn't work. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
no.
liquid coming out of it too. I don't know what that liquid was, but there was a lot of liquid. Puddles.
Someone
Probably
said that you track everything but Ukrainian losses, and that's not true.
No.
I know for a fact you track damaged and destroyed Ukrainian trees.
True. Those are the Ents.
And today there's another addition, I think. I added a tree, but I'm not sure if it's really a tree. You will have to confirm.
Okay. Yeah. I get pooped on by Ukrainians saying that I shouldn't publish Ukrainian losses. And then I have other people saying I don't publish Ukrainian losses. So we're getting it from both sides. This is great. Yeah, I have been an ardent defender of the trees the entire time. I've made entire streams just about trees. You were there, Gick.
Yep.
We've made several hour-long streams just about trees. And the tree casualties. Anyways, I don't really know what else to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, today we probably stretched the stream because news really wasn't covering for, what is it now, 2 hours? How did that happen?
Yeah. All right. So,
But then again, we didn't finish today yet.
No.
So there might be some jewelry in there.
yeah,
Hey, but Geek, we didn't talk about one thing.
Oh, the Ghost Gripen?
The Ghost.
The Ghost Gripen.
Have we seen any evidence of the latest?
So on Tuesday, I wanted Andrew and Exit to talk more about it. There were some interesting, claimed airstrikes. I'm not sure if you're hearing that. My cat is sitting next to me, screaming at me. She doesn't want me to talk about the Ghost Gripen.
It's a secret.
Oh, she's in on it.
But there is evidence in the general chat.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's evidence.
This is the evidence.
Yeah, that's the evidence.
It's
So should we
photograph.
Erland? When is the Hungarian guy in Washington to ratify everything?
I don't think he is in Washington.
Oh,
I hope he is traveling there soon.
okay. So
the rumor was that it would happen today, but that didn't happen. So good old Orban is dragging his feet again.
Yep. I don't.
And to be clear,
I don't think people noticed that there was a grip in the thumbnail of the last stream. No one mentioned it. There's a grip in. You see it?
I mean, we can see the 3 kronor or the 3 crowns on the wing.
So what is our official hypothesis?
Well, there's been some very, very strong signaling from Saab that they want the Gripens to go to Ukraine. And then was it October or November, they said the official note was that introductory training was completed for Ukrainian pilots on the Gripens. And since then, it's been quiet officially about the Gripens. But last week, the opposition party the biggest opposition party in Sweden said we should send the Gripens before Sweden is officially in NATO. That's the.
So yeah, we don't want to start a rumor or anything, but you should totally build the legend about the Ghost Gripen, maybe in connection with the current, apparent shoot down spree in planes. Of course, none of them are really evidenced, but yeah, that's kind of like, I don't know. I personally have been building this legend. I've been using Ghost Gripen whenever an airplane was involved. To me, I'm convinced it's what's happening, and I'm hoping we'll see official confirmation soon. Because then I'm just gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna dance in circles.
I mean, so just like to be a little bit serious, like the signaling from Sweden about Gripens going to Ukraine were incredibly strong last year, and then suddenly it got quiet. I'm not going to say more than that.
Gripen.
Do I think it's the Gripens? No.
You're not a believer. Get him out of here.
But okay, so the chances that it's the Gripens probably low compared to other ground-based air defense systems.
Speaking of which, Ukraine has lost a bunch lately.
Yeah. Well, they're doing what I wanted them to do, pushing air defense closer up to the front lines.
And they're losing them. They lost an S-300. They lost NASAMS.
Maybe.
They've lost radar. One of the radars was like next to Transnistria, just FYI. That was weird. Yeah. They've also lost crabs recently. They've lost Susanna. Um, they've lost a lot of valuable equipment. They had an archer get damaged.
Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
The archer seems
And-
pretty damaged.
No, we didn't. We never saw an impact.
No, there was a video.
No,
with
yeah,
an
there was
impact,
a
but
second
we
video
can't-
with the impact.
But
Oh,
we
really?
can't really see what it hit.
Yeah,
if it
there's
hit.
no fire. It hit and exploded, and there's no fire. Like it wasn't destroyed. You can say that it was not destroyed. The damage probably wasn't significant, but it was damaged.
Well, we don't know that because the video only shows a very, very bad resolution image of something hitting close to the archer. It probably hit, but I mean,
Today, the Russians released a Lancet video where they, praised their new AI technology, helping the Lancet home in on the target. The target was a tank, and you can see that the AI in the last second, it changed the homing from the tank towards the truck, which was standing next to the tank. So you can see the Lancet basically scratching the top of the tank. I'm pretty sure that AI failed here, but let's praise it.
Not the first time. Their AI saved the CB90. Remember? It locked onto the CB90, and it was going in at a really good angle.
It's a snow hill, right?
And then it was like, oh, there's some snow over there. Let's get that. It saved the CB90. Man, I really think like that angle is really bad for the CB90. Anyways, I think that's all we got to talk about. Thanks for coming and listening to everybody who found it interesting. We got the Bantu trolls in the comments. It was fun. Anyways, we'll be back next time. Wait, when is next time? Yeah, I'll be back next time. I had to check my schedule. It's the following Tuesday. There's not going to be a stream, but next Tuesday, yes. But the one after that, no. Anyways, we'll see you later. Goodbye, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
Bye, everyone.